Okay, now we're going to work on bringing in our controller objects that our train will be attached to. So let's select our landscape and hide that. We don't need to see that at the moment. And let's kind of open or slide up this window of where the timeline is. And we're going to switch this to the asset library. And I'm going to show you a couple of new shortcuts that will make your life easier. But what I'm doing, instead of clicking on this drop down and finding the thing I want, for example, the asset browser, is Shift F1. So if I hit Shift F1, I'm going to get the asset browser. It also works some other windows, so you have to cycle through. I think it's two. Yeah, that switches between. So if you hold Shift F1 and keep hitting, you'll eventually get to your asset browser. When I was working through this, I was searching for the smoke system, so that my search bar still shows smoke. And we'll go to all libraries here on the left, and we only want to see things that are in our train project folder. Now, you'll probably notice I have a few more things than you all because I've got some other things in my folder, so it's pulling those also. Okay, let's look for our train controllers, and I have a couple different versions, so you should only have one. We're going to drag that into our scene, and they're sitting here away from the origin point of the world, where the X and Y cross. So we're just going to make sure they're all selected, hit Alt-G, and they'll all move to the center. Now looking in the outline, let's select the Train 0 engine, and then let's go down to the constraints. And last, let's go ahead and open the property shelf by clicking this little arrow or hitting the letter N, and that will pull up our properties tied to this empty object for the train engine. Now we need the timeline, so we can switch this back to the timeline, or since we will be using this window, the asset library, and the timeline a lot, we're going to click right here in the top right corner of this window, left click and drag down, and it will split this into two windows. So we're going to turn this bottom one into the timeline, and I think the shortcut is Shift F12. Yes. Or you can click the drop down and find timeline manually. So for whatever reason, the driver that we have on this object that pulls the current frame doesn't update when you bring it in. So we just need to come down to the current frame, right click, copy as new driver, come up to A, current frame, right click, paste driver. And if we hit play, that will now start to update correctly. So that should make sure all the other calculations are working on this object and on the other train car objects. Let's go ahead and go to the target. Once again, I still have the Train 0 engine selected, and we're going to select train path, not the train path for wheel. And it should have jumped over somewhere. There it is. If I hit play, you're going to see it moving along the path. Now, it's not going to be on the path because we have a shrink wrap. The origin point is offset from where the thing is. So we'll have to manually adjust this here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and select our train car 1, change our object target to train path. Let's select our second train car, change that to train path, and so on until all of them are on the track. If we hit play, you can see them all moving together. Now they're spaced out a little too far, so we go back to the Train 0 engine and go to offset value, and let's make it something like 0.2. That brings them pretty close together. And we'll adjust this more once we actually attach the train cars and engine to these. Okay, let's kind of work our way over so that you can see all of these. You don't have to see them up too close. And we're going to add a few more drivers just to make our life easier later. One, we're going to have to adjust the Z location of this to get it up on the track. but we really can't do that yet because we don't have the train track and several things. But I want to go ahead and set it up so with that, when I change the first one, the other four update also. So I have the train 0 engine selected. I'm going to the Z location value, right click, copy as new driver. Then I'm going to select train 1 car and then come to here, right click. And before you hit paste, I'm going to show you something that will make your life a little easier. If you know you're going to do something like this over and over quite a bit, and there's not a shortcut attached to it, when you're hovering over it, if you right click, you have the option to add to quick favorites. Now, mine says remove from quick favorites because I've already done that. But if you'll click add to quick favorites, what you'll see is if you hover over Z and hit Q, it pulls up that one thing that you attached so you can click that and not have to search the menu. So select train 2, hover over it, hit Q, paste driver, train 3, hover over it, Q, click on paste driver, and so on. So that will fix this so that when we grab this on the Z axis, they all move together. The next thing we want to do is we may have to change the size of our train by scaling this object. So we want all the others to scale with it. So we only have to do that once and they all scale evenly. To do that, we're going to come to the scale of our train 0 engine. And for this, since they're all going to be one, it doesn't matter which one we copy as a new driver. Then we're going to go to the train car 1. We're going to scale, hit Q, paste driver on all 3 because we do need all 3 of these to change. We'll go to train car 2, do the same thing. And you can see how having the Q shortcut menu speeds this process up quite a bit if you have a lot of things that you're doing that same command with. Okay, one last thing. If we are scaling these later, we need to make sure that our smoke system will scale also. So let's go ahead and find our smoke emitter, which we have hidden. We'll unhide that. And the last thing that we copied as a new driver was the scale of our empty queue. So if we go to our smoke and we go to the particle settings here in the property shelf, properties panel, I should say, we're going to go down to, let's find it, render, and we're going to scale. We're going to, now Q doesn't work here because we're in a different editor or window, and the quick shortcuts work for the window you're in. So if I set up Q here to do that, I could make it work, but I'm only doing one. So I'm just going to right click, paste driver. And if I select this and scale, then what should happen is this value is going to increase also. So I'm going to go back and make sure that this is not large, and I was hitting Control Z. I may have accidentally, no, I didn't get rid of the driver. Okay, so that will set these up and our smoke so that we can start adding our trains to the scene. And I will do that in the next video.